London is waking up. It's a crisp morning in 1347. The cobbled lanes around Cheapside are already crowded. The air is thick with the smell of baking bread, smithies' forges, and the not-so-distant Thames. A fishmonger shouts her prices. A priest walks to morning mass. Children dart between the legs of merchants unloading Flemish cloth. It is a Tuesday. It is utterly, beautifully normal. But if you listen closely, beneath the city's heartbeat, a new sound is threading through the gossip. It's not about the price of wool or a royal decree. It's a whisper brought by sailors from the south. Stories of a great mortality in distant ports, a sickness that moves faster than news. People shrug it off. London has seen sickness before. Life, noisy and desperate and glorious, goes on. We follow the sun. By midday, the first change is subtle. A door on a narrow lane in Aldgate is shut tight, a strange X crudely marked in red ochre on the timber. Neighbours cross the street to avoid it. The cheerful chaos of the morning acquires a new sharp edge, a sidelong glance, a prayer muttered under one's breath. The fear is no longer a rumour from abroad. It has taken root in the neighbourhood. As afternoon shadows lengthen, the rhythm of the day breaks. The cheerful shouts in the market are replaced by the grim rhythmic call of the crier of the dead. A cart lumbers down the lane, its driver's face wrapped in cloth. "Bring out your dead." The order is met not with screams, but with a chilling, resigned silence. From a shuttered upper window, a woman watches, her face a mask of pure terror. The bonds that hold a city together, trust, community, simple human contact, are beginning to snap. By nightfall, London is a city of shadows and silence, broken by distant cries. The only constant light comes from the great hearth of St. Paul's, where they burn incense to purify the bad air, and from the flickering torches of a strange new procession, the flagellants. Men whip their own backs in a public frenzy of penance, believing they can scourge the sin from the world. When prayer and medicine fail, desperation turns inwards, and soon it will turn outwards, looking for someone to blame. Dawn comes again, but it does not bring a new day. It illuminates a city transformed. Streets that were rivers of life are now still. The only movement is the slow, grim progress of the death carts. In a field outside the city walls, a vast pit yawns open, a stark contrast to the ordered rows of the churchyard. This is the new geography of London. We remember the Black Death as numbers, a third of Europe, millions gone. But history is not made in millions. It is made in single, silent mornings, in a marked door, in the empty space at a family's table. It is the story of a vibrant Tuesday that simply never ended. They were witnesses to the end of their world, one ordinary hour at a time. And in their story of a society brought to its knees by an invisible enemy, we might just see a reflection of our own fragile world and be reminded of what we truly value when the ordinary suddenly becomes precious.